The future of camouflage once looked almost too simple. It looked like a strip of tape. Researchers at the University of California, Irvine engineered it to mimic squid skin, a living surface that can change how it reflects light. The key was a protein in cephalopod skin that helps control how light bounces off the surface. The larger dream was active camouflage, material that could adjust to its surroundings. In the lab, the team used reflectin-coated adhesive film that changed how it appeared to near-infrared sensors when stretched. The idea suggested a future in which soldiers could carry rolls of invisibility stickers and use them to change how parts of a uniform appeared to infrared sensors. Once it was no longer needed, it could be peeled away. But the sticker also exposed the problem that would define the next decade of camouflage research. Squid-inspired tape was not enough to hide a soldier from the modern battlefield. Camouflage is not a magic material. It works only when it hides the clues the enemy is looking for. Traditional camouflage does not make a soldier disappear. It only makes the soldier harder to recognize. For decades, armies kept changing the pattern to match the way soldiers were being seen. Plain field colors gave way to disruptive shapes, then woodland patterns, desert patterns, tiger stripes, digital pixels, and newer multi-environment designs meant to break up the body across different terrain. Every one of those patterns is still a choice made before the mission. What the soldier wears is based on where he is expected to fight, what the background is expected to look like, and what kind of observer he needs to deceive. That creates a built-in limit. Terrain changes, light changes, weather changes, sensors change. In a tree line, a rubble field, or a desert position, those patterns can split the clean silhouette of a soldier into smaller shapes, forcing the eye to work harder to separate the helmet, rifle, pack, and uniform from the background. Against human eyes, that can work. However, modern warfare rarely relies on the unaided eye alone. A soldier can be hidden in one band and exposed in another. Visible light cameras read color, shape, and texture. Thermal imagers read heat. Infrared systems reveal differences the eye cannot see. Together, they can expose heat, motion, reflectance, or contrast. That was the weak point Alon Gorodetsky and his team at the University of California, Irvine were trying to address. They wanted camouflage that could change how a surface behaved in infrared. Long before engineers tried to build adaptive camouflage, some animals had already evolved their own version of it. Squid and other cephalopods do not rely on one fixed pattern. Their skin can shift its optical properties as the animal moves through changing water, light, and backgrounds. Their skin contains specialized light-manipulating cells called iridophores, which help control reflected light. Inside those cells is reflectin, the protein Gorodetsky's team wanted to use as a model. That mechanism is not the same as military camouflage, but it points to the same lesson. Hiding is not only about the pattern on a surface, it is about controlling the signal that reaches the observer. In the 2015 work, Gorodetsky's team focused on reflectin, one of the key parts of that natural system. They engineered bacteria to produce reflectin, then coated the protein onto a packing tape-like surface. The result was a thin, flexible material whose surface changed how it reflected infrared light when stretched. This became the invisibility stickers concept, a strip of squid-inspired material that was simple to test, easy to apply, and imaginable as disposable camouflage. In theory, the two could work together. A conventional camouflage pattern could deceive the human eye, while the squid-inspired strip changed how part of the uniform appeared to an infrared sensor. However, it also exposed the limitation. A few strips could change part of a uniform's infrared appearance, not turn an entire soldier invisible. The first problem was the battlefield itself. A soldier's gear has to survive sweat, mud, rain, dust, abrasion, heat, cold, and constant movement. It also has to stay light, affordable, easy to produce, and reliable while the soldier crawls, runs, kneels, carries equipment, and scrapes against the ground. All of these are conditions for which no sticker has been built. The second problem is that modern camouflage has to work against more than one way of seeing at once: visible color, pattern, and texture for the eye, and infrared radiation for sensors. A surface can look right to the eye and still look wrong to an infrared camera, which means solving one part of the camouflage problem can make another part harder. Other military prototypes showed the same move away from passive patterns and toward active signal control. Base Systems' adaptive system used heated and cooled panels on armored vehicles to change how they appeared to infrared sensors. This kind of active camouflage creates a difficult trade-off. A material might need to change its visible color for one background, while separately controlling the heat signature it presents at night. In newer camouflage research, engineers are trying to control visible color and thermal appearance separately because changing one can interfere with the other. Even in 2015, the researchers framed the sticker as a step toward adaptive camouflage, not a finished combat system. As sensors improved, the goal shifted from changing one infrared effect to managing multiple signals at once: visible color, infrared reflectance, and apparent heat. A 2025 visible infrared camouflage system shows how far the idea has moved from one strip of tape. The device worked in layers. One layer changed the visible color. Another, built with carbon nanotubes, regulated how the surface behaved in infrared. A third used a thermoelectric device to adjust surface temperature. At 28 degrees Celsius, the visible layer could shift from green to yellow. The system could also control emissivity, or how strongly the surface appears to radiate heat, in the 8 to 14 micrometer infrared band. Another layer could adjust the surface temperature between 10 and 60 degrees Celsius, changing the heat signature presented to a sensor. A soldier does not need to rely on a single trick. Instead, he needs camouflage that can manage color, reflection, heat, and background changes simultaneously. Under those conditions, the future was never going to be one roll of tape. To move beyond the sticker, researchers had to go back under the squid's skin. In 2025, UC Irvine researchers and collaborators studied squid skin in 3 dimensions and found structures that help explain its changing appearance. Inside light-manipulating cells called iridophores, they found tiny stacked and winding columns made from reflectin platelets. Those structures help control how light moves through the skin and reflects back. Those columns gave the team a more specific blueprint than the original reflectin coating. The first sticker showed that a strip could change how it appeared in near-infrared. The newer work used more of the squid's internal light control system to build stretchable samples that could adjust their behavior in both visible and infrared light. If that approach can be scaled into something durable and usable, it brings the story back to its original promise. In describing the project, Gorodetsky said, quote, "We were inspired both by science fiction and science fact. While the science fiction version remains unfinished, the science behind it has become far more practical." Some of that work still follows the squid skin path, building materials that could adjust their appearance across both visible and infrared wavelengths. Other research is moving toward a more active approach, in which camouflage is controlled by sensors, software, and devices that adjust the signal in real time. One example is thermal cloaking. Instead of relying solely on a coating, researchers have studied systems that actively move heat around an object to control the heat pattern observed from the outside. To a thermal camera, the object can become harder to detect or even appear to resemble something else because the system changes the heat pattern it emits. The same idea could also move beyond military camouflage. A surface that can control light and heat could help regulate clothing, insulate spacecraft, protect emergency shelters, or manage temperature in medical settings. But no matter the application, modern detection has made the soldier readable as a set of signals. In this reality, invisibility is no longer about making a soldier vanish. It is about fooling the machines that find, track, and identify a human figure.